everybody, and welcome to Sunday Brunch. I am your host, Artem, straight from the beach, literally right off of the boardwalk, everybody. So I'm still sweating from running to get here on time. I'm just such a fantastic morning. I hope everybody's well. Russ, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you very much. Got my tea, made it in advance this time, so I wasn't rushing around. And yeah, an interesting week in the world of Russ. But how are you, more importantly? Oh, and hello to everyone in the chat. I was waiting for our room to arrive, and I saw that there was a bunch of people already here in advance of the show. So thank you so much, everyone, for there's Big Joe. So Joe, we were just killing time till you started, man.
Hi, Joe Tyson says, greetings, everybody. Greetings to you. Good to see you, Joe Tyson, this Sunday brunch. Such a pleasure. Irene Jobson is here. Hi,
Oh,
Irene.
Eileen, hello.
Always good to see you. Brogu is here. It says, good morning, everyone. Hi, Brogu.
Hey, Brogu.
Please tell your brother Grogu hi for me. Darth Plato is here. Says, what's up?
So away, Darth Plato.
We also have Retro Nerd Girl here this morning. Hi,
My
Retro.
resident crush. Hello, Retro Nerd Girl.
So good to see you this morning. Thalia is here. Hi, Thalia.
Here she is.
Oh, it's so good to see all of you. And of course, Tom Jr. Jackson, my moderator, collaborator, and good friend is here. Tom Jr. Jackson, it's such a pleasure to see you. Says, check out Russ's Amazon storefront for his Gladiatrix series books. I guarantee you guys won't be disappointed with Gladiatrix.
Maybe coming to a short film near you soon.
I can't wait for that.
Hmm.
Bonzo Kilborn is also here saying, I'm going to write a book called The Girl with the Flash Earrings. Well, I think that's a great idea, Bonzo. Yeah, it's so good to see you, Bonzo Kilborn. Sure hope you are well.
Oh, sorry, Rita, what is this? Stream Elements bot running.
Mm-hmm.
Is
It's
that okay?
Yes, it is.
All right.
And it sends out notifications to people that I have a broadcast that's going live. YouTube sends them out as well.
Okay.
And Stream Elements also sends out announcements that pretty much.
Sure. I thought it was a problem. It's not a problem. It's fine.
No, not a problem at all. Stream Elements. It should be in every single stream that I do. So you'll see a Stream Elements, and usually it'll say something like this: Positive Fandom is now live. Yay! I mean, that's how I look at it. Not everybody looks at it that way, but that's how I look at it. It'll say something like that. So I have Stream Elements there, and thank you for bringing it to my attention, Russ. Just in case you were wondering what that is. And of course, we have Nathan is here, Russ.
Hey, Nathan.
Nathan Trujillo says, "What's up, Artem and Russ, the man, Whitfield?"
Yeah, I'm all about it, dude.
So good to see you as well. Cool Gamer is here. Says hello, everybody. Hi, Cool Gamer. Hope everybody is well today. As I said, I literally just ran from that boardwalk. Retro Nurgle says she's been meaning to add on Stream Elements. Go ahead and add it. It's another thing that you can use for alerts, and it'll send up stuff, and it can remind people about subscriptions and things. I haven't set mine up completely, even though it's been 2 years, or actually 3 years since I set it up. But it's great. Stream Elements is great. Anything that you can have in the chat. I know Lorraine also uses either Stream Elements or one of those other ones, so you might see it in her thing as well. But I ran, and guys, check out Retro Nerd Girl's YouTube channel as well.
It's really good, guys.
And also check out Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube channel. Tom has his own YouTube channel, and he has fantastic reviews and interviews and so much more. Go ahead and check out Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube channel. I'm just fresh from the beach. I literally have sunscreen and suntan lotion on me that I should have, like, as soon as you get home, you shower all that stuff off. I haven't had a chance to do that. So I'm very sticky, and I have the beach on me, and I'm sure I have spilt coffee and tea on me. All sorts of good.
Sounds like me after a night out down the pub, to be fair, sticky, covered in stains. I mean, that's just part of the course, isn't it?
I have sand on me. About the one thing I did do was like splash some water on my face just to get a lot of the grime off. But it was the perfect beach day. I like it when it's a little bit cooler like this. the water is not super warm, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to stop me from walking on the sand and exploring and looking around and just enjoying myself and trying to walk on the, like on the jetty, but then deciding I can't do it because it's too scary. All that fun stuff that I like to do at the beach, I was able to do this morning. So, aw, thank you so much, Irene. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, sorry. Before we carry on, Irene was saying something. She couldn't buy my book or something like that, but then she could buy it. It's gone past, so I don't know what happened, but I just don't have enough anymore, and I don't know how many Ed's got in his shed. I mean, this book come out so many. So I'm so sorry. It just came out such a long time ago, but you know, when I last looked on Amazon.co.uk, it was you could get them for a penny, like secondhand. Um, oh, don't worry about the Kindle version though, Irene, because like um, in the book, if you can imagine, you've got a paragraph, and then you've got a couple of little stars, and then you go on to a sort of different scene. But in the Kindle um, transfer, those little stars aren't there. So basically, the book just sort of runs on from one scene to the next. And it's I was reading it on Kindle, and I was like, oh, hang on, this doesn't make any sense. So if I'm not making any sense out of it, then God help you. So I apologise to that for that. But oh, she says here, I bought it. You got the first one. It's not very good. Sorry. The second two are good though. Jesus. No, I won't get the money. Ed will get the money, fortunately. And Ed deserves every penny that he gets out of this, because if not for Ed, there would be no book. It's Ed, guy called Ed Handyside, who published the book. So I'm more than happy for Ed to get the money, and maybe one day he'll pay me some royalties. But I've never gone after Ed for royalties, because without Ed, I wouldn't be an author, and therefore I couldn't care less about a couple of £100 here and there, which is what it amounts to. But thank you for buying it, Irene. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry if you don't enjoy it. It's not my favourite one, as I've said many times.
Well, guys, see if you can get your hands on the Gladiatrix series. No matter how you get your hands on it, I guarantee you guys you're going to enjoy it. Russ is a fantastic writer. I've read a lot of his work, and I can't say enough about it. He's very modest. He's wonderful. So there, I said it. So
You're too kind.
Make sure you go ahead and get his books, regardless of where you get them from. It's a good read, guys. And Tom J. Jackson says, what a feeling. You're rocking the Flashdance look today. I am rocking the Flashdance look. My hair actually does look like Jennifer Beals' hair in Flashdance. I have it blown out a little bit, but yes, it does get to that point. So there are maybe just the hair and the clothes are the similarities. I wouldn't mind looking like Jennifer Beals today. Just having fun here with all of you here this morning, everybody. What a beautiful summer day this is here in New York. Russ, what is the weather like where you are?
It's like Maine. If you don't like the weather, wait for 5 minutes and it will change again. It was cold yesterday. It was boiling hot yesterday. There was thunder yesterday. There was torrential rain yesterday. Then it was cold. Then it was hot. So right now there's sun coming through the window, but you might see it go dark again. Do you need to read the first one to enjoy the other books, Russ? Shit, that's a really good question. Kind of. You could read the second two, and then go back to the first one, and you think, Jesus Christ, he was right. This is crap. But the first one is really based on an event that happened. We know that the event happened, but we don't know anything about the event. So I wrote a story around that. And maybe a little bit because you get to know the character a little bit more and how she ends up where she is. And then so if you start reading the second one, you'll find her much older. Like I think she's 25 or 26 or something like that in the second one. In the first one, she's like 19. So you get to hear about in the first one how she becomes a gladiatrix, and what her story is in that arena and how she gets to where she is in the second one. So I'd kind of say sort of ish. But if you want to read the good ones first, then read the second two and then go back to the first one. Maybe we can have story hour with Russ, and I'll give you a quick overview the one time.
Okay. So I did just want to mention it since we were talking about the book, and let me just bring it up on screen. And Tom did post the Amazon link, but I'm going to bring it up here. Here's the Kindle edition.
Such a good cover, though.
Yes, it's a fantastic cover, isn't it?
My third one is actually, I really like all of them. I was going to say that I like the third one, but I really like the second one as well, because they really looks like her in the second two. There's a fabulous designer. I don't know where Ed found this lady, and Ed told me he met with her. So, and she's absolutely beautiful. So I think the girl in the second two might actually be the designer. I think, of the books.
Absolutely. Guys, go ahead and go to Amazon. As I said, Tom posted the link in the chat. Here you can find the Gladiatrix book, the first book here. And I imagine it says book 1 of 3. So you can click on here. Maybe you'll see the other ones. Oh, look, there's Russ.
I know.
Look at that. Whoa.
My mate made me a trailer and everything. There's a trailer on there for the second book, I think.
What?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God.
My mate Lee did it years ago. Yeah, good. Look, how young do I look, hey?
It's amazing, guys. Do check out Russ's Amazon page. As you guys know, he is the author of the Gladiatrix series. Certainly, there's a fantastic photo of him, and you can find out more about him and his novels, what motivates him, everything that you need to find out how to follow him here on Amazon. And do go ahead and purchase. I'm just trying to click backwards. The Gladiatrix series. It's available on Kindle. There's actually 3 books. So go ahead and check it out, guys. It's a fantastic book. I've only ever heard good things about these books. So make sure you get them. Also, and thank you, Cool Gamer. Thank you.
Cool Gamer. Hello.
And I will say hi to Mom. She's watching Turner Classics. There's a Debbie Reynolds film on, so there's no way on earth I'm going to be able to get her away from that. Yeah, it's Irene, Cara Irene. And also, Irene was asking another question, Russ. She said, can I send the money to RM? And then you can give it to Russ. Yes, I can do that.
No, don't do that, Irene. That's absolutely fine. But if you want to send money to our room, she runs this channel. I don't get any of the super chats or anything like that. It's all for our room. She's the one that's here doing this day in, day out. She does this stream, she does other streams. So if you're going to donate to anyone, donate to our room. But thank you for the offer. But no, you're fine. You bought the book, and I'm really thankful that you did. Thank you so much.
And people are saying it's a great cover. Look at this. It is fantastic.
It is. Good.
Click in a little bit closer to it. Oh, look at that. Oh, it wouldn't keep on the cover.
Oh, shit. You get the first chapter. Oh,
yeah. There it is. And it starts off. Let's see what we got here. Lysandra would never forget her first time. Absolutely, Russ. What a great way to start off a book. I'm not going to read more of it than that on the air, but certainly we all remember our first time. Read into it what you will.
I did it on purpose. Come on. Like, she's in this big sort of cavernous long tunnel and she's heading towards the light and she'd never forget her first time.
Certainly. An amazing book, guys. Please do go ahead and support Russ. And the link is in the chat, guys. All right. Tom Jr. Jackson says it's 77 now, but the high will be 81. It's nice, Tom, right? It's a beautiful day. Darth Plato says, I have read them all. Thank you for mentioning that, Darth Plato. Certainly, we are going to have to review Russ's books. So at some point, I think we're going to do a joint.
MJ says she's up for it. So if you want to do a thing with MJ, like she's dead keen to do it because she knows more about it than I do, to be fair. Like, I can't, half the shit I can't remember because I wrote it such a long time ago, but she's read them more than I have, let's just put it that way.
And MJ is a super fan of the Gladiatrix books. I have not met MJ, but I've spoken to her several times. She is absolutely fantastic, a great person, and certainly somebody who I do want to speak to more about your books. Bonzo Kilborn says, Russ, your Kindle pick looks like you're on the audition for Take That.
Relight my fire.
Whatever I said, whatever I did.
When I was that age, went to a nightclub with a heavy metal nightclub with my ex-wife Sally at the time, because we were young then, I think I was about 27 or 28 or whatever. We always used to go to rock night, and her friend at work, Leslie, was a real, rocker. And I'd never met Leslie before. We all went down to, I forget what club it was now. And I met Leslie for, I was, oh, Leslie, heard a lot about you, you're rock and all that. And she just looked at me and she goes, where's the rest of Take That? Which I thought was really cruel, but kind of funny.
It's not cool. It's a compliment, I mean, I could see you sticking your, Russ Whitfield, band member. I think it's sweet. Aw, Irene. Aw, Irene for the $10 super chat for Russ, or y'all work that out. For Russ or y'all work that out. Irene, we will work it out.
You're too kind, Irene, really. And yeah, can somebody get me Irene's email address, please?
Yes, Irene, if you have an email address, please provide it here, or you can reach out to Russ at russellwhitfield.com. So please do, Irene, provide your email address. You can provide it to me. You can provide it to Russ.
I might have it, but if I haven't got it, can you send it again, Irene? Because I get quite a few emails to that account. So if you could resend or contact me, I've got something for you.
Irene, thank you so much for that. We do appreciate that. It's very kind, and I appreciate it. I really do appreciate supporting the creators here. That's why, a secondary reason why I started this YouTube channel was to support creators. So definitely, he's ready for Take That reunion tour.
Which one, though?
Which one?
Could I be the sixth member, maybe?
Yeah, you were the sixth member who left early, and then
do you know what? I need a haircut to join that band, right? Like my hair's all over the gaff at the moment because I haven't bothered to get it cut for ages. But yeah.
And Brogu says my high today will be 103 degrees. Wow, Brogu. Ooh, I hope you keep the AC on in the Razor Crest. My goodness. That's going to be, really, really, really unbearable. Tom Jr. Jackson says, but the real question is, can you drag MJ away from Peter Parker?
Oh, you want to see our version of MJ, Tom? She's hotter than Peter Parker's one. I'm not going to lie.
Well, certainly I would have to agree of that. You have never heard of Take That? Oh
What?
My gosh.
What?
I can't believe it. You've never heard of, it's this guy here. The one second from the right is the one I know the best.
Robbie Williams, yeah?
Yes, Robbie Williams.
I remember I went to the States in about 2000, right? And Robbie Williams was everywhere.
Yeah.
Like he was all over Great Britain. Like you just couldn't fucking move because he did that song Millennium, and he did so many sort of famous songs. And so we went to, and we were talking about, because he was huge and no one had heard of it. Like I said, what, Robin Williams? Like, no, fucking Robbie Williams, the pop star, the guy that just sold out Nebworth and had like, 100 the biggest crowd ever at Nebworth. It was bigger than Queen. This guy.
Directing
in our face. Yeah, exactly, that one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But no one had heard of him, so I'm not surprised Darth Plato didn't hear of him.
I still like whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it.
I just want you to know I want you back. Let's take that though.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really sweet song. And supposedly that was the song where Kate and Wills got back together.
Is it really?
Yeah, the concert, I guess it was one of the many concerts. It might have been Trooping the Color concert, or whatever concert it was. They were in the crowd together. They had just broken. Remember, they were lived together for a while and then they broke up. Mm-hmm. And supposedly Take That came on and sang that song. And that's when they got back together and then got married. So it's
sweet.
It is so sweet. And I could see you auditioning and making it.
Yeah, funny. If I was good looking, and could sing, that I think those are the two sort of minimum requirements to get in to Take That. Are you good looking? Yeah, okay, that's the first thing. Can you sing? No, that doesn't matter. Howard and the other guy couldn't sing either, but Howard and Jason couldn't sing, but they just looked good. So maybe I could be like Russ, the other guy on the.
Well, I've got my Take Back dreams here going on. Just enjoying it all, everybody. And we have Keely Chow with us this morning.
Roll Tide, Keely Chow. Work for all your pop culture and Take That parlay.
Absolutely. And Irene believes in it. Irene believes in it. She's here with her very generous super chat as well. Stubble McShave is here this morning. Hi,
Ah,
Stubble.
Stubble, Skull, man.
How are you, Stubble? Really, really. Oh, you haven't? Really, Richard? You never heard of Take That? Okay. I'm sorry. I just to do that. I
Fucking YouTube hits will be going up for take that now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I preferred E17 out of the Brit pop bands, not the Brit pop like Blur and Oasis, but the British pop bands of the same era. I really liked E17. And then
Oh,
Brian Harvey was just so out of it on drugs, he actually ran himself over in his own car, which is it's kind of funny how you run yourself over in your own car, but he did. But yeah, they were a bit of a flash in the pan, E17, but I did like them.
yeah, and there was another group, I can't remember the name of the group. They were a Canadian group that I liked a lot. But there were some, the boy band era was fun. I mean, that was a fun time to be a fan, to be, of course, it was earlier days. But certainly, it's just been so much fun to have those pop bands and enjoy it. And now, of course, it's all K-pop, right? That's what
I
BTS.
don't know. That stuff has kind of passed me kind of passed me by a little bit. I listened to what's it? I listened to Ghost. That's like a modern band that I like, but they're heavy metal. So
No, no, that's why I thought because you do listen to or at least you were a musician, as you guys know, Russ has had a career, a past in the heavy metal zone as a heavy metal rocker. So that's why I thought, yeah, if you could do that, you definitely could be in a boy band.
oh my shit! Did I send you those pictures that my stepdad found of me the other day?
No, you did not. Can
Oh
you share
shit!
them
Let
right
me.
now?
I'll
Share them
do.
on
I'll
the
do.
computer?
I'll do it right now. I'll do it right now.
Because if you
Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, I think I am going to enjoy this. I never thought you'd talk about Take That. Yeah, I love Take That, Stubble. I love that group. Yeah. So, and I like that video too. For I Want You Back for Good. Chef Nation is here. Hi, Chef Nation says, good morning, beautiful people. Well, good morning, Chef Nation, to you. Um, enjoying all of this. I like that. I like that, Irene. Hey, yeah, chef. um, Gary Bando Sandwich Worthington says, met Robbie. Did you really? Let him sit in my vacated seat at a bar in Liverpool. Wow. Oh my gosh, you are so lucky, Gary. I think I would have actually, I would just really love to. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm really enjoying this. How am I going to show this? Can you share this on your computer with me, Russ? Do you know how to do it? No.
No,
Okay.
I can try getting into WhatsApp because it should
Um,
be in WhatsApp, right?
let me save this, and I'm going to have to show this. This is getting shown. Oh, you definitely could have been in the group. Aw, and I could see girls writing you letters like, Russ is my
Can
favorite.
you? That happens today.
Oh my god, I'm enjoying this too much. Um yeah, it's just this is so good, guys. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how good this is. I have to share this. Just give me a second, guys. I'm going to be sharing these wonderful photos. Oh my god, this is
Can
so
see what
good.
people are talking about while Rita's doing that. Let's have a look and see what people are saying. So you write songs, Irene. That's really, really cool. Have you got like stuff you can share with us? And Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington says this is our house of love. Yes, E17, a classic hit there. What else we got? I don't understand K-pop, says Irene. No, nor do I. Stubble McShave. I would love to see a show like MTV Unplugged. Do you know the one, Stubble, I used to love? It was on VH1 and it was called Making the Band. And it must have been in the 2000s. And they would go back to get all of these 80s bands back together again. They did Flock of Seagulls, I remember. And they tried to do Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And you know the guy with the big moustache? You know, he was like he looked iconically gay. Like he had the hat with the chain and the big tash, and he was giving it a bit of that. They found this bloke, he'd moved to Australia and he lived like he was off the grid. He was off the grid and lived in the middle of nowhere in Australia. And they got him, and they got the one guy, the drummer, became a web designer, and all of that. And the fucking Holly Johnson wouldn't do it. He was doing his painting, going, no, I've left all that behind. And all people wanted to do was one night at the Roxy or whatever it was, but they wouldn't do it. But I loved that show. That was such a great show. What else have we got here? Stubble says it's rainy and quite windy here today. Well, Scandinavia. Um, Nathan says Hollywood Reporter is saying that Barbie crossed 1 billion globally. So that's
Yay!
that then sort of knocks over the house that certain people on the internet were saying that it was going to fall off in week 2. It clearly hasn't. It's a massive hit. More power to it. I hated it, but it's one of the few times when you can just turn around and go, you know what, it's literally not for me. It's just, why are you bothered about it? I'm not bothered about it. In it, I didn't like the message, as we argued about last week. But that isn't a film you can get bent out of shape for. It's not the sort of film you can look for any logical argument in. It's just not for blokes, especially blokes in their 50s. So more
And I
power
think
to it.
it's fair because you're not going to like every film. This is the truth, and I get that. That's not. I respect that.
And Tom says, we all know that Russ is a big S Club fan. S Club will show you how. Yeah, I remember them. H. And I think if I have missed anything important, I apologize. I was just killing time until our
Yes, I'm
did
sorry.
what
I'm
she was
trying to
going to
pull
do.
up these photos because I don't know how to pull up individual photographs on StreamYard the same way I would pull up a web page or another page that I'm sharing. So I emailed it to myself. And then once I emailed it to myself, let me see if I can share it because it doesn't always allow me to share like my email, but it might allow me to share a photograph. So let me see if I can do that. It just takes so long for me to get to it. Let's see. Okay, that's the first one.
So
And
people
then,
are just chatting here. That's all.
yeah,
That's
I'm
all.
sorry, guys. Just hold on one second. I'm gonna share both of these photos. I think I know another way to do it. I think.
Oh, Chef Nation here says, I remember making the band when the rapper Diddy made his crew walk to Brooklyn for some cheesecake. Fucking Brooklyn's huge, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
it
been
is
to
big.
I used to live there, so it's massive.
It really is. Let me just go ahead and add it. Add images.
Mighty Your Bots is here. Hello. Cavantino Cavalryman Che is here. Good morning.
Hi, everybody. Just give us a second. I'm just trying to pull up these images of Russ.
Yeah, I was young. I think it was 1987 and 1988.
I'm going to remove us from.
Or 1989. 1989.
Can I remove us from this? I think I can. I'm going to remove us from, but then you won't hear us. Let's see. Okay, will this work?
No, that's you.
That's us. That's us big. That's me. That's you. No one will. Oh, that'll
There
work.
you go. That's me. I was 16 there, I think. And I
Oh,
loved that t-shirt. I loved that t-shirt. That was a
oh,
Crusader t-shirt from a band, or from the album Crusader by a band called Saxon, which I absolutely loved. And that is on the floor of my girlfriend Helen's house back in 1987 or 1988.
Russ, I am really impressed with your photo. And of course, you look like you're about to rock. You're ready to rock here. It's a cool photo, Russ. You look good.
I was young. Jesus.
Well, Gary says this is our House of Love Russ version, Russ edition.
That's E17, right? Everybody in the house of love. It was so good. That was such a party band. I loved them. I loved them.
I love it too. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Of course, here, let's see. Yes, Tom, I'm going to be doing, if not tonight, tomorrow, I'm going to see who I can bring on. It's not going to be a long broadcast for Barbie, but I will be doing something. Yeah, Brogu, absolutely.
I do. The Ghost brought out a new album recently, like an album of covers or an EP, and it's really good. They do one. They do one of by Iron Maiden. They cover Phantom of the Opera, which is okay, but they do this version of Tina Turner's "We Don't Need Another Hero." And out of all the covers that they have ever done, because they've done lots of covers, and obviously this is a cover album, but that one just totally suits Ghost. Like they've completely ghosted up "We Don't Need Another Hero." It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free on you, listen to it for free on you. It's such a good cover. Check it out, Brogu.
It sounds amazing. Certainly something like that. Irene, it does not matter whether they, as far as I'm concerned, if you're writing them, it's professionally. Um, so there, I'm just enjoying this so much. There's another photo, but I think I might keep this one on. Dr. Sleep is here. Hi, Dr. Sleep. I don't know if we
Hey,
said
Dr.
hello to
Sleep.
him. So good to see you. And guys, check out Gary Bando Sandwich Worthington's YouTube channel. He also has a channel as well. Irene says Russ would be my stupid crush, but I don't want to admit that. I think, you know what I would be doing? I would be hanging up pictures from Teen Beat of Russ on the wall in my bedroom.
Right. Of course you would, yeah.
That's what I would have. It'd be something like, Russ in his casual time, between writing heavy metal songs and stuff like that. So yeah, this would be great. And Chef Nation says he's never heard of the band. Well, they were a British band. And I thought they did very, very well, Chef Nation. So I really do. Stubble says we don't know that. They might have just be filled with double entendres.
It could be. Can you imagine like Irene was like some sort of death metal? Kind of. I don't reckon she is, but it could. You got to. Is it country and western Irene, or is it death metal? These are the questions that we come to Sunday brunch. Fuck talking about films. Let's talk about Irene and her songs. Like I need to know.
My best friend has he naturally knows how to put country songs together. All he does is talk, and I'm like, yeah, that'll make a good country song. Like the other day, somebody pulled into his driveway, and he was like, "There's a Chevy in my driveway." I'm like, "That's a great country song." There's a Chevy in my driveway. It's like, and then you just go from there. It sets you off. He just has these weird colloquial sayings, and I'm like, that's a good country song. So
You know what? Oh, sorry. Carry on. Sorry.
I think Irene, I know, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're Southern, there's a lot of great tunes, country songs, but I don't know if you write country songs. Maybe she writes something else, but yeah, it's funny. What were you going to say, Russ?
Talking of country songs, right? I watched this recent documentary, and it's very up to date. Like came out a couple of weeks ago, but about hair metal, the rise and fall of hair metal, basically. Right at the end of that, they're all talking about today's country and western music, and how essentially it's just as silly and over the top as hair metal used to be, and it's a lot of the same content. Like there's one, badonkadonk and all this sort of thing, and the hot chick walks into the bar and she's wearing next to nothing, and they slap her on the ass, and she's giving it's basically hair metal. Like all the women are sort of cavorting and giving it a bit of that, and all the blokes are posing and talking about what they sexing up the girls and all that kind of thing. And I thought, you know what? You're not wrong. It kind of is. It's because it's kind of as ridiculous as hair metal in its own way, in its own genre.
Yeah, that's a good thing to think about. And of course, here on Sunday Brunch, we do cover all gamuts of entertainment. And it is interesting to look and see how the music industry has changed and the number one songs and concerts that are selling out. And it's a lot of them are country. Like in the 80s, at the height of everything, I remember Garth Brooks with Country Road was the number one album in the United States for many, many months. And every time you turn, I remember I was working at Toys R Us and I was dating this guy named Robert. And he's like, "Do you know what the number one album is right now?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "It's Garth Brooks." So it's something that's been popular in the US for a very, very, very long time. And of course,
and Billy Ray. Like everyone talks about Miley, but Billy Ray was. In this documentary, they said, people sort of blame this and that for killing heavy metal. If you want to look at what killed off, heavy metal, everybody blames Seattle. Just blame Billy Ray Cyrus, and you look at. He was just number one. He was like everywhere, and every song was like massive. He was at top of the charts and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, Billy Ray also was incredibly. I do have to say this. He was incredibly sexy, and at the time when Billy Ray Cyrus came out, they were comparing him to Elvis. He was so sexy and beautiful. And he wasn't ostentatious about it or anything like that. He was just like this. Yeah, I'm not going to say that this is actually what Billy Ray Cyrus is like, but he kind of came off as this kind of sweet country boy next door. And that's very, very appealing to those of us who like, men. It was a very appealing look. And he was a jeans and t-shirt guy. And he just went up there and he, just sang with his heart. And it was really beautiful. he was not necessarily preachy, which I think some singers might be, but I'm a huge fan of Alan Jackson, all that group, like down in Chattahoochee. I like 90s country. And, I was a huge fan of that whole set of people at that time. So, it's funny to see that was strong. I like Lori Morgan was another artist who I was a big fan of and still am. I still love her. So yeah, of course I liked Reba.
I hate to cut you off, Aaron, but you're going to have to do a little bit of rumor dispelling here in the chat.
Oh,
Apparently, you dated Robert Meyer Burnett.
excuse me.
It's taken. It's look, dude. It's taken off in the chat. Like the rumors
No,
out there
it's
now.
not.
It
No,
totally is. I'm not lying.
listen, look. Irene has sent another $10 super chat for you, Russ.
You're
Irene,
too kind, Irene. Stop it.
you
I'll send
are
you some. I'm
amazing.
going to send you something in the mail, in the email. All right.
And hi, Cavantino. I know
Thank
Russ said
you.
hi already, but I just want to say hi. Mighty Orbots says, hi, Mighty Orbots. I don't know what gooful means, but hi. How are you, Mighty Orbots? Good to see you. Irene, thank you for your generosity here.
Yeah,
It's
Irene,
so
seriously,
kind.
thank you.
And we appreciate it. We realize that, that it's so just really thank you. Look at what Irene says. Oh my, you're handsome.
I think it's a blurry picture. That's what it is. From 1980s, I think so.
I don't think so.
Ooh, oh my God.
I'm
Shit.
glad. I know penalty kicks are controversial, but I'm kind of glad because they've won, what was it, 3 years in a row. It's nice to have somebody else win, honestly. I'm sorry.
England are still in, as far as I know, because the Germans are out, the Americans are out.
So everybody wants to know what you did to get such nice, soft hair that's shiny. Look at the shine on your hair, Russ. Wow.
I don't know. It's really curly. It used to curl up at the bottom when I was trying to grow it. It actually got really long in the end. I had it sort of down past my chest in the end. But yeah, that was me sort of willing it to grow at that time.
Thank you, Tom. I already have it up. I already have it up. I'm going to push it through, Tom, but thank you for your kindness, Tom, for the Barbie thumbnail party. I'm almost tempted to see what you made. Cavantino Cavalryman Chase says, learn from a cousin that if you are in a music group, have a reunion before it's too late. He was in a group several years ago, and one of the groupmates passed away from an untimely illness.
Oh dear.
Sorry
to hear that.
And Irene says, I'd fight my little sister over them. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's what I thought, Irene. That's why I was thinking maybe we have some country songs. And you do remember Garth. Boy, Garth was such a big hit, selling out stadiums in the 80s while the glam rock bands were also selling out stadiums. So let's see. I like was before 1980. I like old school country too, Darth Plato. All right. Okay. Well, Russ. Stubble is saying that you look a little bit like Billy Ray.
I don't know. I can't remember what he looks like, Stubble. I don't know if that's a good thing. But thank you.
I think he might be right. Now, what, Bonzo, where is this coming from? Where's that coming from, Bonzo? I don't want to start rumors. I am going to neither confirm nor deny this. So I'm not going to say anything. No comment. Also, and the thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. That was the song. Thunder rolls when the lightning strikes. It was like, and it was controversial song, Russ, because it was about like domestic abuse. Mm-hmm. And MTV was like, we don't know whether we can play this. It's too controversial. It's and it was just like a lot of fun to see MTV kind of jump over that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Bonzo. There's a Chevy in my driveway, but I just bought a Ford. I mean, I just can feel the country music spurring from my best friend. He just says things and it's like, that's a song. Yes, that's coming out soon. Well, Cotton Eye Joe was an electronic dance music song, Chef Nation. That wasn't. However,
by Rednecks. I remember it very, very well. I loved it. It was great.
It was great, and they did say that they were inspired by country music. which was of course inspired by I believe Irish roots. So
Mhm.
it went from Ireland to the United States and then back to the UK. So it made a full circle trip. But yeah, that was a huge hit for Cotton Eye Joe. And they even wore those overalls, and um it was on Top of the Pops,
Yes,
Russ.
I remember it. That's a scene I've got playing around in my head. I remember them well, Rednecks. They were a
Mhm.
one-hit wonder, but it was a great song.
It was if I'd be happy with a one hit wonder. Let's make one, Russ. Let's make a one hit wonder.
Absolutely. Metal or EDM, though, that's the question.
Well, I it can be mixed into an EDM song. Any song can be mixed to become an EDM song. So it doesn't have to start off being EDM to be EDM. But I like that song "Call Me Maybe." Like Carly Rae Jepsen.
Don't
Uh,
know it.
it's "Hey, I just met you and this is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe." And I was
Oh.
like, "That's cool." Who wrote that? Like what this was definitely like some kind of club encounter. We don't have a lot of time. Here's my number. Call me. Bye.
Yeah.
So I thought you made that into a top 10 hit. Wow. So yeah. There is another Pam Tillis. Thank you, Irene Jobson. It's Pam Tillis. Absolutely. Irene pulling out all the famous country singers of the time. Um, there's another picture. I don't know if I can pull it up here. Let me see if I can pull up this other picture. I hope I can show you all because there is another photograph of Russ. And Russ is getting very nervous right about now. But I don't think this one, I don't know if this one came. Yeah, I can't load this one because it didn't upload correctly. You could see
Okay.
your arm, but
I was
nothing.
in jail when that picture was taken.
Yeah.
I was. We were arrested on New Year's Eve. I think it was 1988 or 1989.
I
And we
thought you were
spent
joking.
no, no, we spent the night. All of us spent the night in a cell. Um, and we were innocent. We hadn't done anything wrong, and the police were trying to get us to admit to something we hadn't done. Eventually, my stepdad came and got us all out, but that was not a fun time.
Bonzo, it's a different Robert when I was at Toys R Us. Okay. I've dated many men with similar names, and I'm going to leave it at that to answer your question. I'm not quite sure why they jumped to him. I think that's funny. Okay. So, wow. Gosh. Will you write a song for me? Oh, thank you, Irene. This is just such a musical morning. I love talking about music. And this is just a wonder. Oh, yes, I love George Strait. Yeah, I love you remember Pure Country, Bonzo, the movie Pure Country? If you're looking at that's actually Loretta Lynn, you're looking at country, but he made a movie called Pure Country, I think, and he was great in that. He's a great singer, George Strait, wonderful. There and there's two country song writers who pretty much wrote a ton of songs during the 90s and 2000s. Pretty much every thank you, Tom J. Jackson. It is Carly Rae Jepsen who sang that other song, but yeah, George Strait is great. He is amazing. Stubble is letting us know that Redneck was a Swedish Eurodance pop country group.
You should check out Hysterica, Stubble, all-female Swedish heavy metal band. They were brilliant. They never were as successful as they could have been. They were on breakfast television in Sweden at one time, and I loved them. I was good mates with them. I wrote a couple of songs for them actually, back in the day. But yeah, if you like heavy metal, like it's not thrash, it's not glam, it's it's heavy metal, and they are absolutely fantastic.
Roku says, "Can we remove Russ's picture from the screen? His shine is
Yeah,
blind."
I think so. I think it's my shiny hair or my shiny face or whatever it is.
And Chef Nation says, "I don't believe a nice, handsome man like Russ getting arrested."
No, they put my face in the concrete. I'm not gonna lie. Um, this episode is brought to you by Russ Bow Chicka Wow Wow Whitfield. Thank you, Nathan. I think it's time to remove the picture, right?
All right. Okay. I'd like to keep it up for the rest of the show, but um, out of
Not
Russ's.
the first time a woman has said that to me, and I've always disappointed them.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I love Patsy Cline as well with Crazy and all that good stuff. That song Crazy that she sings. Crazy for feeling. Okay. Um Irene says I liked that band. It was two lesbian Russian girls, I think.
That's you're thinking of Tattoo, not Hysterica.
Okay.
Hysterica were four Swedish girls, and they were brilliant. Fucking Annie could. Oh God, Annie could sing. Oh, she could. Oh, what a voice that girl had. Beautiful, and she's tall. She's up here, and Jesus, she had it all, and they just never got there, and it's very. Oh my goodness, they were fantastic. Hysterica. Do check them out if you like heavy metal, classic metal. They were brilliant.
Yes, Tattoo. Yes. I thought you were thinking about Pussy Riot for a minute, but they were not heavy metal and they're kind of more. Oh, Kenny Rogers was great too.
Hmm.
I love him. Oh, did you see Pantera on Tuesday? Are you in Arizona, Joker Jay? Because Pantera and Metallica had a concert, I think, in that area. I love Cemetery Gates, which I is just the one of the coolest metal songs ever. Lita Ford, yes, he kissed me once, he kissed me
Kiss Me
twice.
Twice, Kiss Me Dead. Oh
Pretty
my God.
baby. Wake up
I'm
in
not look.
the morning, go out.
Joan Jett though. Joan Jett. Fucking
It ain't no
how
big.
sexy was Joan Jett?
Now
Oh
she's
my God.
from Long Beach. She's from Long Beach, New York.
Used to what Joan Jett?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
she's
she was
from this
so
area.
beautiful, so sexy. My
She
God.
really was, and I liked her short hair. I liked that rocker short hair that she had. But yeah, oh gosh, it's so good. Brogu says, Russ, I remember Saxon, Denim and Leather brought us all
It's my
together.
favorite Saxon album, Brogu. It's my absolute favorite, and I bought it, and I should have kept it because you didn't know in the 80s. I had it on blue vinyl, and apparently that was like so rare. And if I'd never played it, it'd probably be worth some money these days. But that record got played to death. It was absolutely my favorite one.
Joker J says he looks like all my friends in the late 80s.
So true because all of my friends look like me. So, yeah.
And oh dear, Cavantino Cavalryman Chase says Aerosmith is doing their farewell tour.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I
All
was
right.
going to ask our given our Spartacus conversation last week, did you catch up with Warrior at all, or did you not get round to it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, it's not on Stars. I was wrong. It's I think it's get the HBO banner, and it's on another one. Oh God, I can't remember. Anyway, I've been catching up. I've been binging Warrior. The season 3 is not yet complete. I think there's 2 more episodes to go, and I have to say that season 3 is as good as the other seasons, if a little bit more limited in terms of cast and all that sort of thing. It's pretty clear that they were given a stay of execution, Warrior, because there was like a big fan outcry, and I think they're trying to bring it all together for the end of the show. But there's a lot of the plot lines thus far. Um, in it have been sort of left dangling. Like there's a big plot point at the end of season 2, and it hasn't hardly been mentioned in season 3. And I think that's more to do with money and cast than anything else. It seems to be a little bit more of a contained season, but nevertheless, if you can check out Warrior, please do. It's brilliant. It's all shot in South Africa. You wouldn't know it. Amazing talents working on that show. Amazing martial arts, and the fight sequences, despite the drop in budget, the fight sequences are equally as good in this season, if not better. They're creative. It's proper. It's like old style martial arts. It's really good. There's no MMA in it. It's kung fu show, and it's the best show I've seen in a long time.
I hate to change the picture, but darn it, I'm
Excuse
going
me.
to bring up Warriors since you
No,
were.
that's it. If you haven't seen it, it's fine. I don't know if anybody in the chat has. Excuse me. Sorry, choking myself here.
You okay?
But it's just a recommend. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. Yeah, so you haven't seen it, but do watch it. It's really good. The one thing I want to check out, I don't know if you've seen it, is Lioness. There's a new show out called Lioness, an all-female special ops group, and I'm quite excited to
Oh, that's with
see.
Zoe Saldana.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I might give that a watch when I'm finished with Warrior. Excuse me.
Here, you guys can see me searching. I should bring up the IMDb version, but there she is, Zoe Saldana there, in a spy thriller. Sorry for switching while it's still streaming, but oh, it didn't show.
No.
Well, so much for that idea. All right.
So there's been news out of Hollywood this week that I wanted to sort of touch on briefly. Lots of superhero related stuff. That has all of a sudden, well, this news never seems to go away. First of all, you had Kevin Hart doing a podcast with Dwayne the Rock Johnson, who now, I guess it's a year after Black Adam's cinematic debut and what happened there and all of that and all of that stuff. Dwayne comes out with the Chef Nation here says Linus is a great show so far. Love it. Love what they're doing. So it's not complete yet. Oh, I thought it was like a season dump. So it's still going on, is it? Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, what was I saying? The Rock. So The Rock come out and said that he has a lot of regrets about that. I'm going to paraphrase because it's about a 4 or 5 minute segment of this interview. And he basically talks about how the regime changed and they changed everything again. And he said, with the benefit of hindsight, I suppose, and he is talking with the benefit of hindsight. If you look at what Warner Brothers did with the DC extended universe, every time they didn't get exactly precisely the result they wanted, they changed everything. And then they didn't get the result that they wanted, so they changed everything again. And then they changed, and this kept happening. So he was saying about Black Adam, that Black Adam actually made some money. And he said, and also that movie didn't get a China release. So, you could have added maybe another 100 million, maybe 1.5, maybe even 200 million onto the top of it if it had been got its China release. So I think it made near on 500 million. I think, I don't know, someone will probably correct me, but if you add another couple of 100 million onto that would have been a go. And he talks about how the whole world was talking about Henry Cavill being back, and that was the big seller. And even The Rock said, of course, that was why people were excited. Henry Cavill was back. I brought him back, and people were going nuts for it. And then you get the comments from Gal Gadot, I should say, that she's been in talks with Peter Safran and James Gunn about Wonder Woman 3. So how does that work? How does that work?
I'm going to bring up the article. I think it's an article that you're talking about, Russ, in a second. And I just was going to say, I put up the Lioness for you guys who wanted to see that. And just Stubble said that he was trying to get tickets to the Hives and they were sold out. And just Joker, thank you for letting me know you are in New York. The concert is in Syracuse for Tuesday, a 3-hour drive. Joker J, thanks for sharing that. So let's bring up this article, Russ, that you're talking about. And I think it was a Deadline article, right? Or let's see.
I don't remember because it got picked up by I think the first place I saw it actually was comicbook.com or comicbooknews.com. And I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it because they just write fantasy fiction, don't they? Screen Rant and all these places, they just write, we've got it covered. It's just lies. It's always lies. Or fan theories that they want to be true or not true or whatever it is. But this one this one has really, it's been picked up by everybody, so it must be true.
All right, let me see. Something about it got new leadership or something like that.
That's The Rock, yeah.
All right.
So basically what I said, he just said, yeah, the leadership changed, but retrospectively Warner Brothers if you look back at what they did after they just changed the direction, and that's why it was a complete mess. It's really sad. I look back on it, as everybody knows on this channel that watches me regular. It's such a regret of mine that it didn't
do better.
Didn't do as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody felt that way. Where on earth is going on with my computer? Okay, so I think I have something that I have an article, and I did see something about this, and we were talking. I guess it was yesterday about how a lot of these producers and directors don't have the same control over the films like they thought they would have, and you know, and one example might be something like this in this film where films are going so soon directly to streaming services, and there's no control over that. And creative control, a lot of factors that a lot of producers and directors want to have, but they're not necessarily getting. I don't know whether he had any control over that stuff, but you know, he talks about this vortex that brought it to a halt. And just as you said, Russ, it was one of the biggest openings of his career to DC's dropped follow-up as one of the biggest mysteries. Here he says, it was a vortex of new leadership. And at the time, as we were creating Black Adam, there were so many changes. As you know, anytime you have a company, but especially that size and magnitude, that's a publicly traded company, you have all those changes in leadership. You have people coming in who creatively and fiscally are going to make decisions that you may not agree with philosophically. I think Black Adam was one of those movies that got caught up in a web of new leadership. Although he says that it still a number of publications considered the film a disappointment to the box office. It needed 600 million to break even. The film grossed 393 million worldwide during its run.
There we go.
Russ, maybe it would have made more money. There's the China comment. Let me just close this. You don't need to see swimsuits and stuff. By the way, swimsuits are on sale now. And so it says, according to IMDb Pro's Box Office Mojo, in December, Johnson cited Gunn as he revealed that Black Adam character would not be in DC Studios' the first chapter of storytelling, but Johnson noted he felt proud of the release. And during his conversation on a heart-to-heart, Johnson said that the drop sequel will always be one of his biggest mysteries. You had the biggest opening of your career. Sure, no China. That could have been maybe 100, maybe 200 million more dollars. You're establishing a new superhero. You want to grow out the franchise. You bring back Superman and Henry Cavill, and the world went crazy. We did go crazy. Yeah. And so it is an interview there. That's the interview. That's why.
Yeah, there you go.
It was Kevin Hart's interview with him, and they made a lot of good points in it. Certainly, it totally made sense. We know that these releases that we've been seeing recently have been very strange. They've been very unusual. It's because they're going to eventually geared towards streaming. I guess not every film is going to make $1 billion in the first 2 weeks. It's just unrealistic to expect that. You know, it's unrealistic. However, a film with The Rock and with Cavill, if distributed correctly, which he's suggesting it was not distributed correctly, it didn't have a chance the way he thought it should have. It would have done better. And I think we all do know that. So I think that is something very interesting, because they essentially pushed away cash, and one person had said that they think it's because some of these producers know they'll get a certain cut in the budget. So if you inflate the budget, this is not set in stone what I'm saying. So don't quote me on this. Do not quote me on this. I don't have the reference material for it. But from what I understand, I've heard a producer friend say that what happens is the budget will become inflated. So you had a budget that was maybe 100 million, but then the budget can be increased to 200 or 300 million. And depending upon who's involved in the film, they'll get an exorbitant cut just right from the budget. 50 million, 75 million. And it's not going towards necessarily the actors or the production itself. It's going towards, the producer director, which is their agreement. That's what they want to do. I'm not telling them it's right or wrong, but what happens there is automatically you're like, gee, why is the budget so inflated? And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times it's because it's going to an individual. So that's something else to think of as well. You know, we don't know who a good portion of that budget went to. It might have gone to anybody who's involved in the picture. I'm not going to point out an individual, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of that cash went into some of the executives' pockets, or maybe even the production team's pockets. So you just never know when you look at some of these inflated amounts. It's the producers. Are you familiar with that movie, The Producers, Russ?
I am. Springtime for Hitler.
Yes, in Germany. And I believe that, they know even if it's going to lose money, they can still get funding and still turn a profit individually.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. So that was Black Adam anyway. But then we had Gal come out, and somebody, I think it was Mighty Orbits, but waiting for Godot, which I thought was quite a good one. I was in waiting for Godot, so that's, yeah, I did get it. But yeah, so then she come out and said, "Oh no, that's, I've been, maybe we're going to develop that, or that's been development, or sorry, do you want to take care of this one?"
thank you so much, Irene says. This is for your coffee or tea. Well, thank you so much, Irene. I
You've
so
been too generous today, Irene.
Yes, we do appreciate it, Irene. Thank you so much for everything. It makes such a big difference here. Thank you so much. It will be used for coffee or tea. When I run out to the boardwalk, Irene, I'm going to buy a cup and I'm going to think of you. Thank you so much for that. So generous. And yes, it is very kind of you, Irene. You've been so generous today.
Mm,
Um, yes. And Darth Plato, it's interesting that you say that, because that's how studios make deals all the time like this. Everybody wants a cut. So that's not unheard of. But these are exorbitant amounts. And, even if it just broke even, things would be fine. It broke
thing
even.
with Black Adam though, it wasn't very good. It was really just, it was just an okay movie, and it really, for me, you could tell the studio had interfered with that film, because all the violent stuff that you saw in the trailer of Black Adam, sort of murdering pilots and doing all this stuff, a lot of that was not in the film. So again, you have to wonder, what was the director's cut? Was it a different film entirely? Was Black Adam casted in a different light? And I guess we'll never know, or will we? It seems like a lot has been made of what Gal Gadot has been leaking recently. Because a little couple of months ago, she said she was at a Netflix thing, and that people went nuts. Snyder people went nuts over this, because she was at a Netflix thing talking about something to do with Netflix, and then they asked her about Wonder Woman. She said, "Yeah, there's things going on in the background." Now it turns out she's been talking to Gunn and Safran. Um, I don't know. I When you sort of think about the thought process that's going on there, what are they doing? What are you doing, guys? Like, what, George Clooney's now Batman but isn't, because we've got Brave and the Bold, but the Flash is back in the Snyderverse but he isn't, because George Clooney's Batman in that verse. And now we've got a young Superman, and now we've got a different Batman, but now we've got the same Wonder Woman back, and oh, but no, look, there's Peacemaker, and oh, look, there's what the fuck, man? Like, okay, we care about it because we're fans, but like, if you're an audience, like, what are you going to make of all this? Like, why is Superman? Hold on, wasn't he in Black Adam? Didn't he just fight generals? What the hell is going on? And I don't know how they're going to try and make this work. Um, and then of course you had John Campea come out and say, well, why can't we just have both universes? I saw the headline. I didn't actually watch the thing yet. I'm not really a big fan of John Campea, I'm not going to lie. But he was sort of postulating this. Well, why don't you have the Snyderverse on Netflix and the Gunverse in the cinema? And I'm like, yes, why don't we do that? Of course, I would say that. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Now, Mighty Orbot says even George Clooney says he was a bad Batman and he apologized for it multiple times. Yes, he did. I mean, look, I'm just illustrating a point with that Mighty Orbots. We know that George Clooney isn't going to go forward as Batman in the DC universe, but why, it's just like it's such a gun move, isn't it? Oh yeah, people will get a laugh out of that. Well, yeah, well we will because we're old nerds. But who else would have got that? Think about
Exactly.
it. Think about it. Like, if you're 18, 19 years old, you go to the cinema, like, well, who's this guy? I thought Batman was, Ben Affleck, the cool guy.
Yeah, that is something to think about. Stubble saying that Black Adam made 300 and
Nice one, Stubble.
yeah, true. And Tom points out that today, of course, is the bombing that was pivotal in changing the outcome of World War II. Um, yes, I remember, I guess it was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, Patrick Stewart was starring in a stage version of Waiting for Godot, for Godot, here in Broadway, and it was a huge sensation, a big success for him. Um, and it was a
Was
good
it him and Ian McKellen, wasn't it?
it
I think
was,
the pair of
yes.
them, yeah, yeah.
And they were, and at that point, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe Patrick Stewart had either just had a kid or he just got married to a very nice young lady at the time. So it was a lot of excitement, and Patrick Stewart was enjoying himself tremendously in the, sort of like in the New York crowd, the theater crowd, which is another great, just as cool, maybe not as cool as the West End in Great Britain, but certainly a fun bunch of people there. I do want to answer this comment about where Darth Vader says about Agent and the sudden news. And I think she made the deal when she got the buyout, the $20 million a few years ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, she got 20 million, and part of the deal, I'm sure, was that it was she was going to get another movie out of this, maybe two more. So I'm not surprised by that because they threw a bunch of money at her to do that, and she might even get more money when it comes to the screen.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if Henry Cavill's too old for your new vision, how is Gal Gadot not?
I think Cavill, and I don't know whether this is true or not. I have no idea, but I think Cavill probably demanded like 100 million. I think, and he's worth it. So I think that they just don't want to pay him that amount, or anyone for that matter. When it comes to it, that's why I think that there's pushback for him, is that they don't want to pay him the amount he deserves. So that's just
Yeah,
my
maybe. Yeah, you could be right, but I mean, he seemed to be so keen to do it. He seemed to be so genuinely thrilled to be back, and he was back. Right, that was the thing. So he was back. They announced he was back. So surely the deal would have been, if not signed, penciled in. You're going to get paid this. Great, I'm back. I'm going to go on the tour and announce it. So I don't know, RM. I don't know. A lot of people have said it's just personal. It's just like James Gunn. James Gunn just doesn't want him, and probably, well, you'd say because of the Snyderverse hangover or whatever, and he wants to do his own thing. But really, you're bringing back, well, literally, if you do this, a third of the Trinity, right? And you're bringing back your own favorite characters, and you're keeping Waller, and you're keeping the Suicide Squad. What the? I don't understand, and I
I
don't
don't
understand
believe
how
it.
they're going to write their way out of it.
I don't believe it has anything to do with him. I think when it comes down to it, I think it's the money. And I don't know whether it's true for her, but I think, as I said, the deal was made when she accepted that 20 million before. That's what I firmly believe. I think the deal was made several years ago, and she knew she was coming back. There was never a question for whether she was coming back or
Yeah,
not.
but narratively, it doesn't make any sense now, does it?
It makes sense for her if she's getting paid.
Which it makes sense for her. I'm talking. I said narratively. This just doesn't. This now doesn't make any sense. I
Well,
mean, this
she's
really
a
doesn't make any sense.
character that they pushed in the last Flash film that just showed up and didn't have to do anything.
Hmm. As did Affleck.
So, maybe that's what they're thinking, depending upon how much money is produced. I mean, I don't know whether Affleck's going to make another solo Batman film, but who knows? Maybe maybe he will.
Well,
Um,
this is what people have been saying. Hey, are a lot of people have now coming out with this and saying, do you know what? This whole gunverse and this whole DCU isn't going to happen. And not because, Snyder fans are terrible people, and not because, what is this? What does Retro say here?
Black Adam was a decent film. It behooves me that it wasn't bigger at the box office. I thought it would have made a bunch of money because I really did think it was going to make more.
Yeah, it
But
just
I
wasn't
think,
very good. It just wasn't good, was it? That was the
well, I
thing.
well, I also think that the marketing of the film was not great, and I hated the trailer for
Mm,
Black Adam. That did not reflect the film at all. It was, I don't know what kind of music they put in it and the way it was presented. It just was not, it didn't work to its strengths. And so sometimes, we were talking about these marketing campaigns that don't do justice to the film. And that music, the soundtrack that they had, or at least the music that they had in the trailer, immediately as soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is not appropriate for Black Adam. Like,
mm.
what is this chorus? What is that? It was awful, and it gave a different feel. Not at all what Black Adam was like. It was very strange. Did not match Black Adam. I don't understand what that was. It was like
The
some,
soundtrack was pretty good, though. The actual movie soundtrack was pretty good. I remember I put a bit of it into Sam's ring
yeah.
walk for her
So why
fight.
was the trailer music so awful? I mean,
God knows.
awful. And that was what people saw.
Mm.
That's what they saw. I guess that's what it's going to be like. But it should have made more money for sure, Retro Nerd Girl. And as we were saying, the like not having that Chinese market, and also I don't know whether there was a definite like 145 days in cinema situation and commitment to that. I don't know. It was a point too where they were perfectly happy to put a film on streaming. They were looking at that and saying, yeah, let's not even bother with an advertising campaign. But they had been advertising Black Adam for months and months and months. So that's something too. Oh, Cavantino Cavalry Chase says that they had dragged their feet in bringing Black Adam to production. It was stuck in development for years. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like 10 or 15 years. I mean, The Rock was talking about that when he had hair. It was that long ago. I remember it, distinctly. People that who's that guy that does the famous fake images? Boss Logic. He approached Boss Logic to ask him to do a fake of him versus Cavill Superman, and that was years and years ago. As I say, he had hair at the time, so it was a long time ago.
Absolutely. And Nathan makes an interesting point that Quantum Mania made more money than Black Adam did. Now, do we know why China did not want Black Adam in its country? Does anybody know?
Maybe it was probably too diverse. I would suggest, and there wasn't any Chinese representation in
So
it either.
they still have a problem when they see Black people on posters. Is that because we know that they do have an issue?
That's my guess. There weren't, as far as I remember, there's no Asian characters in Black Adam either. There are Middle Eastern, there are black people, white people, Samoan people, but as far as I recall, there were no Asians in it. And of course, it's a really diverse cast. In fact, in that interview with Kevin Hart, The Rock calls that out. He goes, "Yeah, it was really diverse." But with Black Adam, that diversity just wasn't forced. Like it was just, fine. Hawkman's black guy. I
It
get
was
it.
totally fine. Everything was cool. And freaking what's his name? Pierce Brosnan was in it, even though his role was very short. Two of the leads, let's say The Rock, and there's another man, I can't remember the role he played. I thought they were
Hawkman,
yeah,
Hawkman,
he
and I
was good.
forgot the actor's name. He was brilliant.
So
He was so
hot.
good looking as well.
God, he was hot.
He
Um,
was.
and so about the only thing I called out with Black Adam was that there were sort of like these superheroes for the first time that they popped their superhero cherry.
Mm.
It's like I'm this is the first time I'm showing my powers. And it's like if they could have removed them, but it didn't matter. I think I didn't dislike the film, but you're right about the story. A lot of people were saying it was not necessarily the best story. However, The Rock looked great in this. He looked fantastic in this
It
film.
was. It was just hackneyed, wasn't it? It was just literally the same thing. The origin story, the loss of the powers, the regaining of the powers, and then the CGI villain fight at the end. That's kind of all it was. And we've seen that so many times by that point. I think, yeah, somebody else said it was in development hell for years. But again, I will always wonder, as with the oh god, the Ayer cut, is that the film that they intended to make? I suppose maybe it was, because The Rock could have come out here and said, you know what, this is more of a horror movie. It was more of a whatever it was, and he didn't come out and say that. But it seemed to have a lot missing and didn't seem to be the film that they were advertising. But with
Well,
this one, sorry,
no, no, you go ahead.
I was just saying, with this Wonder Woman now announcement or rumor, it has to be put under the thing of rumor. But then we led on to say, didn't we, that are these films ever going to get made? We've had so many films announced by WB in the past, and Lucasfilm or Disney as well, and none of them have come to pass because of one reason or another. And a lot of and this talk is like a rolling stone. It seems to be sort of gathering. I know Rolling Stone doesn't gather any moss, but this one does seem to be gathering some moss. If I'm going to mix my metaphors a little bit, there are rumors that Apple is circling Disney and Universal are circling Warner Brothers for a buyout. And this came off the back of Chris Nolan, who's doing something with Universal, saying that he wants to save the Harry Potter and something else, another franchise that they've got. I remember he said Harry Potter. So maybe that will happen, because let's be honest, even if it was just the DC brand that went over to Universal, Warner Brothers have excelled at their animated stuff. I mean, there's very, very, very few poor DC properties that are bad animated movies, and I've seen pretty much all of them, and they're all good. There's no, in all of the ones that I've seen, there's not one that I've said that was terrible. And there have been less good ones, but they've never gone below that good tier. Okay, but with their cinematic output, you got Superman 1, Superman 2. Okay, so 1978, 1981. 3 and 4, nobody liked. Then you had Batman 1989, Batman Returns. 3 and 4, nobody liked. Then you had Superman Returns, nobody liked. Sorry, then you had the Dark Knight trilogy, massive hit, everybody loved. Then you've got Superman Returns, nobody liked. Man of Steel, half the people like. BVS, half the people like. Next one, half the people, and so on and so on. And then you've just got a massive drop off where nobody liked anything, up to and including Black Adam. Shazam did okay, I guess. But there's cinematic record with these surefire hits. I mean, you just got to do it right. You've just got to do it right, and they've failed consistently. And even when they've been successful with things like Man of Steel and BVS, they still consider it a failure because it didn't make the same sort of money that Marvel had made over a longer period of time building up their characters, as we all said. That wasn't good enough. So maybe the property will be better off, or DC will be better off somewhere else. That's one possibility. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen, if it won't happen. But if the DCU was never to be, I don't think I'd be too upset, because the mood music that's coming out of it now, it just seems like a mess. You're going to have all of these characters in Superman Legacy, and everybody attacked BVS on a studio mandate because they forced Snyder to introduce the Justice League and Doomsday and all this business, an overstuffed movie, which they then cut 40 minutes out of. That was a big criticism, though. The film's trying to do too much. Well, hang on a minute. You've got now Guy Gardner, you've got the Authority, you've got Lois Lane, you've got Jimmy Olsen, you've got all these important characters you're trying to introduce in Superman Legacy. Isn't this what you were criticizing BVS for? Don't understand. We're launching with Creature Commandos. Nobody cares. You're keeping your favorite characters and you're ditching the rest. Are you keeping Ezra Miller or are you not? Because hold on a second, I thought this was a new universe, but now you've got Ezra Miller, Gal Gadot, and Jason Momoa staying, and Peacemaker staying, and Amanda Waller staying, and the Suicide Squad staying. So how is this new? You've just basically recast Superman and Batman and made them younger, and you're going to try and sell that as something new. It ain't new then, is it? It's completely different.
I'm trying to put this chart up here.
Yeah, so this was a chart that I found on. I think it might. Do you know what?
Yes.
Retro. I think this might have been on Aaron Fisher's channel, but this is just basically a graph showing the relative success or lack thereof of Snyderverse movies, which most people agree finished with Aquaman, right? Because that was the last one to reference the events of Justice League and all the rest. So the ones that Snyder were involved, you can see the sort of graph sort of goes up, down, up with BVS because that made a ton of money, and I think Suicide Squad did okay, Wonder Woman did okay, Justice League didn't, and Black Aquaman did, and then from there, it's a massive tail off all the way through until Black Adam, where it starts to go up. It's on a upward curve again. Why? One reason: Henry Cavill. Nothing to do with The Rock, really. I don't think that one. So this graph just says those films made money. They just didn't make enough money. But yeah, I don't understand the logic. And I think now I used to be a fan of James Gunn coming out and sort of like dispelling things and talking about things and doing all that. But now I rather think, in retrospect, that perhaps wasn't the route to go down, because now he's just saying stuff and it's just all very, very confusing, and nobody needs, nor do we have any right to know. But no, and yeah, Darth Plato comes in with his famous quote of "No Cavill, no Sale." I agree completely. You know where I stand on that one. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, I just want to catch up because I fell behind on the
Okay.
comments, guys, and I'm going to catch up. I promise you, I'm catching up right now. I just wanted to mention that Darkwing says they were passing off Black Adam as a hero, and he was a bad guy. But the way that the trailer was, he didn't look like a bad guy. And I'm like, do you realize what you're doing? This in the context, these people, these superheroes are trying to fight him, and it doesn't make any sense because you presented him as if he's this like a godlike creature who's good, and he's actually bad. And it was just such a disaster marketing wise. But that's okay because The Rock looked incredibly good in it anyway. And Richard Nurgle says they need to think, overhauling the budgets for these films, and the profits is something to think about. Brogu says yes, Barbie is killing it at box office. As Tom said earlier, 2 weeks to make that amount is unheard of, or 3 weeks. It's unbelievable. And I'm happy for the production team, especially because you can see how hard, Russ, I know you didn't like the film. But you could see how hard they tried to make it look like a Barbie world. And I think they accomplished that. Like, it looks like, very Barbie-ish. And I think Margot Robbie, as an actress, did a great job in the film.
So hard looking at Margot Robbie.
Well, I think that she had to play this character too. She wasn't, she's an intelligent woman as well as beautiful. And I think that she had to play that role as Barbie. I believe she's Barbie. To me, she's always going to be Barbie. That's just my personal feeling about it. It's not that important, guys, but I did just want to mention, I think that Margot did a good job. She looks like a Barbie doll in the film, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to see that, and they gave me that. So thank you to her for doing that. They worked really hard on the film, seeing everybody dance and do all this stuff. All right. But yes, they will have a part 2, Brogu. And I will have a special 1 billion Barbie stream coming up. I don't know whether I can do it tonight, maybe tomorrow night, but I have to think about this because I do want to do a special stream for that, because I just never in a million years thought we would even be at this point for $1 billion. Yeah, and I still have never changed my opinion about Henry Cavill in a film. And I think if it's marketed correctly, and I think Cavill himself is so incredibly talented. I just bought a 1/6 scale figure of him, the White Wolf, which is essentially the I guess it's the third party figure of The Witcher. And I can't wait to get this figure, and I'll show it to you guys when it comes. Probably be here in the next week or so. But the point is that I bought it because it's Henry Cavill. I also bought a Superman figure. And you're going to get the other figure, Russ. You're going to get the Nightmare Batman. I'm going to send it to you. because I wanted that Cavill figure so badly, because I didn't know whether he was coming back as Batman. So I bought it, like I've never done that before, but I knew I had to have that. So the Nightmare Batman is going to you, Russ, but I'm keeping the Cavill figure.
There's no need to do that, Rhea. Like, it's fine. Thank you.
Well,
But
I'm not a fan of the Nightmare Batman, but you're a Batman fan, aren't you?
I'm a I'm a Ben Affleck Batman fan for sure. Of course, I love DC. I've always loved
Well,
I've loved DC since I was
it's
a little
yours,
child.
because I'm not. I do like Ben Affleck, but he's not my favorite Batman. So, uh, so you can have him, Nightmare Batman. It comes in a set, so I'll just give it to you, because I don't like to hold on to figures that wasn't what I really wanted. So I just give them away to people. I don't like to hold on to stuff that's not necessarily something I'm passionate about. So, but you are, so you're getting it, Russ.
Thanks.
Okay. Tom says there are already discussions on it right now. Greta Gerwig, Margot, and Ryan don't have set context to do a sequel. Yeah. And they don't have to be in it. It's just fun to even talk about it, Tom. I'm just happy for them. So that's important. There's nothing more beautiful than a film with a small budget. And that film, I would say, Brogu, would be Sound of Freedom for me, with a $14 million budget, making 140 million. I could be wrong, but I think it's around that amount, which is the three blockbusters this summer. Although somebody told me I shouldn't call it a blockbuster, but I'm calling it a blockbuster because nowadays you can call something a blockbuster, even if it wasn't produced by a major studio, as long as it makes a lot of money. That's what people do. So the three for me are Oppenheimer, which has been remarkable. The discussions that Oppenheimer has been pushing and spurring, and people have been amazing. The Barbie film, and of course, The Sound of Freedom. And Russ, when I saw The Sound of Freedom, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I just felt that was an inspiration, because it shows that movies can be made either through crowdfunding or through, sometimes the studio owns it, they let it go, somebody else picks it up. There are different ways to make movies now, and these models are going to become the norm. I don't know how the studios are going to deal with it, but certainly the thought of a budget being able to make a film like that is great. It is different, and I think that the actors who are in it also made The Sound of Freedom what it is.
Funny enough, Critical Drinker was on Russell Brand's channel, and they were talking about a lot of this. They were talking about this briefly, why there has been such a mainstream media, mainstream Hollywood attempt to absolutely crush Sound of Freedom and make it, QA adjacent, and say that people that are going to see it are racists and, Christian supremacists and all this kind of thing. And why is this one movie getting tarred with this brush when the content of the movie, it makes no political statement whatsoever. It's just like a true story of a guy trying to rescue a bunch of kids from a bunch of scumbags who deserve to have the horrible deaths imaginable. Why would they try to ban that? And Russell Brand postulates, and I think he might have a point. It's little to do with, I have these people got something to hide. Now, of course, Mel Gibson says some of them do, but he believes, Russell Brand says, thinks the backlash to this is more that this film has completely gone around and ignored all of the usual processes that Hollywood goes through. So this isn't a studio mandated thing. It hasn't had a huge push behind it. It's just content that people have got behind that people want to watch, and it's content that doesn't push a message that the current studio system seems to want to push. It has had no marketing, only other than word of mouth. The guys who have done this movie, Caviezel and all those guys, and he's a big shot. I mean, he's a big actor. If you say Jim Caviezel, he's up there as a famous person. He'll appear on podcasts, no name podcast, big podcast, little podcast. He'll come out, he'll do these interviews. The director the same, the producer the same, and what they have done has gone to alternative media channels and spoken about their film, and they've built up this people support for their film, and it's got nothing to do with marketing budgets, everything to do with what people want to watch. And what do people want to watch? They want to watch a good movie. They're going to go spend 40, 50, $60, however much money they're going to go spend at the cinema. Good film, hero doing heroic things. Well, great, that's what people want. And Russell Brand postulates Hollywood doesn't like it, because this is another movie that says, or this is a movie that says, actually, we don't need a big studio to make this money. We don't need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to make a successful film. We can make a film for tens of millions and bring in hundreds of millions. And I think that the actors strike, the writers strike, big tentpoles not making any money, brand fatigue, bankers, man. Star Wars, nobody fucking likes Star Wars anymore. Nobody likes Star Wars. Let's sit with that for a minute. Star Wars is not a thing. Marvel movies are no longer an event. So, and now you got this the little film that can. That's what Russell Brand thinks anyway. I'm not sure. I tend to agree, actually.
I think that's very important, and there's a lot that's in what you're saying that Russ, you and I haven't mentioned every detail, but one of the most important details about it, that if we had more time, and of course we would talk about this, every detail about it, and someone did mention, I did a review of The Sound of Freedom, and when I did the review, I didn't have my notes with me, which I normally have notes. Like I have notes on my phone. If you see me look at my phone, it's because I have
serial note taker
yes,
chat.
yes.
Literally, we'll be having a conversation, and then Rita will sort of zone out,
No.
and then she'll look up and she go, "Oh no, sorry, I'm just writing all the notes down about what we're talking about." So I daren't say anything. Like I was, confessing my deepest and darkest sexual fantasies, and then she looks up and goes, "I'm just making notes." What's going on here?
Well, I do like to come prepared to the show with notes, and I don't just wing it. And I couldn't find my notes for Sound of Freedom, and it turns out that I had deleted it. I found it later on, but while I was on the air, I can't really look for something that I might have deleted, and someone was kind enough to remind me that at the end of Sound of Freedom, they put a message and said, "Hey, why don't you pay it forward? We believe in this let's say movement of saving abducted children who are being used as slaves. We believe that it's wrong. And, if you want to support this, go ahead and pay it forward and pay for someone else who cannot afford to see the movie. You can buy them a ticket to see that." And I really like that notion, because we do this on YouTube. People buy memberships.
That's right.
We're doing all this stuff, even a few dollars, $5. Some people can afford that. Maybe you live in a city where you can put in $5 and that will buy a ticket for someone to see it. Maybe in other theaters it might cost more, but $5, you could go $5 a night or whatever and see the movie. And
oh my God. And I remember that them talking about that now, and people who are attacking the movie come out, well, that they've done this and it's falsely inflating the box office, and it's a terrible thing, and it's despicable, and it's a bit disgusting. But months ago, what were they saying? You need to go out and buy families that can't afford it a ticket to go and see Black Panther, because that's noble and great, but it's not noble and great with this little garden movie.
They were saying, and this is not what I believe, everybody. This is not what I believe. This is a quote from someone who said, "Hey, people who are not white, go and buy tickets for your non-white friends, and then wait outside of the theater while your non-white friends are in the theater watching the movie." I mean, these sort of outrageous comments, not because you are generous people or you're nice, but because you should be doing that to guilt white people into doing something. This thing was nothing. Russ, you make a good point. This is nothing like that. This is, hey, why don't you go ahead and fight human bondage? Get people out of slavery and get the word out what's going on. And I live in New York, which is one of the highest human trafficking areas in the world. There's one area in Queens, which is not far from here. I'm not going to say the name, but the police in New York Police Department has mentioned that area is huge in human trafficking. So, I'm at a place where I feel like is a huge hub for that. Of course it is. New York, container shipments, the ports of New York and New Jersey. This is a big place. The United States, unfortunately, does have a huge criminal set of people who do this. But did I go ahead and buy a ticket for other people because I feel like they have to support this cause? No, I bought it because I felt it was a good film, and they can make up their own mind when they watch the film, whether this was a good film, and they can go ahead and do whatever they want to. I'm not forcing anybody to say that you have to follow this. I'm actually more saying, hey, look at what what you said, Russ. Look at what a great job they did for $14 million. Cavaziel is fantastic. The little children who play in the movie are also very talented.
Mm.
And as I said before, Russ, this is a white male who goes in and he is especially trained, special ops, or what do you call it in the United Kingdom? We call it operators. What do you call it over there? What are
Yeah,
they?
they're operators. Yeah, they're operators. Like
Operators.
special forces guys are operators. Yeah.
They don't have to do this, Russ. They don't have to do this. They don't have to come up and suddenly become, risk their lives for other people like this. No one asked them to do this. This was a passion thing for this person. That's what the movie's about. But even if you don't care about them doing that and you want to support the cause, you can go ahead and do whatever you want to. The idea is that to get people into the theater, to get a person into the theater, to support theaters, to support these guys who spend money and make agreements with companies and distribution deals, to support all of that. That's what that was about. Not necessarily saying that you have to be a huge supporter of their cause, but bring people into seats. Every movie should be doing this, Russ.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've got a few points to catch up on, but just
Oh yeah, we have a lot.
I
I'm
guess go
behind.
full circle. Tom
Kevin.
Jr. Jackson says here, well, it's a white savior movie. He says I'm being sarcastic, but he's absolutely right. It shouldn't be. That label should not be put on it. It's just a bloke doing a job, but they can't stand it. They can't stand it because it's not on message. It's not on message. It's just a true story of a bloke who did something, and they hate it. They hate it. So I think ideologically it goes against everything that modern Hollywood seems to stand for, or certainly the big tent poles. But moreover, I think Russell Brand is onto something. I think that they hate it. They hate it so much because these people spent no money on marketing. They just went on podcasts.
Yeah, and I think that he makes a good point. I do like Russell Brand. I thought he was a good comedian, and I think he's a great actor. And I kind of would like him to make more. Like if he wants to, he doesn't have to. But I think he's really talented, and I do kind of like the way he brings his point across sometimes. So
He said he was talking about it recently on the drinker thing when he had the drinker on his channel. He sort of mentions it in passing. He said, I've made some Hollywood movies. I made a few Hollywood movies actually because there was a time when they believed that my cachet and my way of doing things and my style was good, and that time is no more.
yes,
And it was quite telling. It was quite telling. They thought he was hot for a while, and then when he wasn't hot, they just chucked him out, and that was. He didn't say any of that, but that was the inference
they
that they got
didn't
from it.
want him around anymore because he was no longer the it girl, let's say. Um,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
yeah, I'm just going to read a few of these off, guys. I haven't forgotten. I'm really behind in this. Cavantino Cavalryman Shay talks about Katie Sackhoff. I guess he heard that she said, I haven't seen this anywhere, but about the Mandalorians um, craft services.
Hmm.
Um, that is, you kind of gave me a chuckle there. And yeah, Mighty Orbots, George Clooney did apologize for his thing. And you know something? I think a lot of that has to do with casting. I'm not criticizing these casting agents. I think that's one of the hardest and most important jobs for any studio is to have great casting agents. I should have been a casting agent. This is just my personal opinion. But that's another story. Darkwing Duck says Black Adam was a bad movie. They should have stuck to his original roots. I think that the story could have used improvement, and it makes sense. Cavalryman says, "Is Aquaman 2 done with reshoots?" I don't think they'll ever be done.
Yeah, we'll be doing it. The paint will be the thing will be wet when it gets to the cinema. Let's just put it that way.
And Tom has been making a lot of posts about people protesting something, and yeah. And is Mikey Lito here today? Because I thought I
He's
saw.
just arrived. He just arrived.
Hi, Mikey Lito. Of course, watch Movie Form Opinion. I did a stream last weekend, and people were talking about stuff that I hadn't seen, and I didn't say anything because I haven't seen it. So I had no opinion about anything I haven't seen. Like it's just not. And thank you, Darth Vader. Yeah, the Snyderverse isn't going anywhere. This is what I would call one of the biggest unutilized fan bases ever. And it is a shame. And it was so
Yeah,
popular
but
that it made
why
it
are they
into.
actively going out to annoy a massive part of the fan? But I just don't understand it because it's clearly a huge thing. It's huge, and it is huge because Snyder Cut got released,
It's
right?
huge.
It's
And the
huge.
Barbie
There's
movie,
millions of people that want this, and they're like, nah, 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 nah. Oh, you
well,
can
the
have
Barbie movie is one of the few films that even acknowledges that it exists. Uh,
yes.
it's something to think about. I think that Greta saw that and it's like, I better put this in here because it's a huge part of pop culture and they're pretending like nobody exists and it's a huge money making part of the pop culture because these are dedicated fans who love it. Certainly there should have been like a bunch of, I know we had that Snyder Con
Mm.
fire thing, but they should have had a bunch of 1 or 2 meetings on the East Coast, West Coast, in London, maybe for fans to just kind of enjoy. Have the guys come out, have Zach come out there and greet the fans and talk about what you liked about stuff. People would pay money for this. So it's a wholly underutilized segment. Who knows? Maybe Greta will pull it up. You just don't know.
I think
She
it's huge, Mikey. I don't think Large gets a film with $70 million put on top of an already failed film that cost hundreds and hundreds of millions, and they gave another 70 million to get it over the line. Now, of course, circumstances aligned. When you've got planes with messages flying around and you've got adverts in Times Square and you've got all of this stuff, that says to me huge. It doesn't say small. It's but hey, who knows? We can't put a number on it, but that's what I think.
Yeah,
And
and
Tar Player says, yeah, loud. Yeah.
I over to say what you want about George Clooney. I admire his work. Yeah, I think he's a fantastic actor, but
Mm.
give him a role that would have been appropriate for George Clooney. Even George Clooney doesn't think he was all he could have been there, and we still love him. There's no one will, every woman is going to always love George Clooney, but make the role appropriate for him. That's all, I think. And this is very interesting. Someone wanted to know if the interview was from before strike. I don't
No,
know.
this statement's just come out. But when was it? I don't know. But it was last week I heard about it.
Yeah, and Nathan mentions this. Nathan, you mentioned this before too. You said, I think Warner Brother doesn't want Cavill. And Nathan, I think you might be right. Oh, you don't think Gatto will happen either. Interesting, Nathan. But you know something? She got paid. She got paid a lot of money. So she sells a lot of Hot Toys, 1/6 scale figures, and
I'll bet
you
she
know,
does.
she does. She does. They've made some fantastic ones like her. I'm getting one. Um, and Cavantino says only the magic mirror knows.
Mhm.
um, okay, that's interesting. Okay. Are you really at bingo? No. And a lot
House.
and I'm sorry, Russ, a lot of people have been talking about the Black Adam writing was not. So Brogu confirms that it is a racial issue with China as to why they would not open Black Adam there. And that at least give the film a chance. You never know who in that country would like it. So that's something that it's like what they used to do in the 1940s and 50s with films in the United States, and they would edit out areas when you would have people who were not white in the film for Southern audiences. So,
Mm.
okay. Retro Nurgle says Brosnan had a Buddhist charm on during the promotion, so China banned it for that. What?
I
Thank you,
can believe it. Well
girl.
done, Retro.
Oh my God. And Brogu says China actually said that Black Panther was just too dark. Okay. Okay. I wish that were not the case. All right, so let's keep going. Hey, Mikey Little says good morning. Hi, Mikey Little, guys. Yeah, I am kind of behind on these comments, but Mikey Little, it's so good to see you as always. Now, it was Aldous Hodge who plays Hawkman.
Thank you, Bonzo.
What a handsome man that
Fuck
guy is.
yes.
To be, and I'm sure he has been, but like James Bond level of attractiveness he is. He should be in things like that. And I think I've seen him in a few things like that. But
Is he English? I think he is he?
yeah, I believe he is English. He is just stunningly handsome. And
Mm.
he was as attractive as Pierce Brosnan was in the film. I think between the two of them, it was like, oh my God, okay. It was very, they classed up the joint. That's what I'm gonna say. The
Mm.
two of them classed up the joint. And I wasn't expecting that. It might not necessarily have been the right fit for Black Adam. However, it is something to think about where the two of them could be utilized in another way. Like casting has a lot to do with this. You know, maybe they, even though they're great in anything they do, the overall tone, Russ, you know what I mean? The
Mm-hmm.
overall tone of this is might have been a little off kilter too. Um, okay, let's see what else. Mike Alito's channel, guys, make sure you do that as well. And it says Black Adam being an anti-hero is partially due to Dwayne Johnson's influence.
Yeah, I believe that that is true as well. I mean, we can't get around the fact that he's not going to he's not going to want to lose. I mean, that's kind of his thing, though. I think he probably would have worn it because one of the things that Bosch Logic did was, like, you know, Superman had defeated him at the end and all that kind of thing. But yeah, you're quite correct, Marty Orbots.
And Tom June Jackson says, I love Superman 3. Yeah, I like all Supermans. I like all of them. Honestly, I like anything that, let's say if we have to go back to this, I like any Superman. So I'm just being honest about it. Maybe I don't like everything that happens in the film, but yeah, handsome man, good looking, flying around in a cape, saving people and trying to help people out. How could you not like that? So I think that's why, generally speaking, he really is a great alien, and he's an alien.
Mm-hmm.
He's an alien. I love it. So all of you are making such good comments about Tom Jr. Jackson is decided for Blue Beetle. And I got to say, since I watch Cobra Kai, Russ, you watch Cobra Kai, that guy who plays Blue Beetle is so hot. He is gorgeous. I'm just going to watch it because he's in it. There, I said it. I'm going to just watch the parts where he's in it and just be like, he looks good. Russ, as a superhero, he looks good. Russ, just even his image. Let's say we're aside from whether the script, I think he is marketable.
Well, you know what? Pray continue, and then I'll make my point.
No, that's all I was going to say. I just think he's a handsome, marketable young man.
Okay, so did you know that one Mr. Zack Snyder tweeted that he was going to take his kids to go and see Blue Beetle?
I did not know that.
Well, he did. And his tweet saying that I'm going to go and see Blue Beetle, you know, and it's great to see more diverse superheroes and all that stuff, got more engagement, like 3 or 4 times more engagement than James Gunn's announcement of David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan being announced as Lois Lane. Got more views and more engagement than the fucking trailer for the film that he's taken his kids to see. Now, if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does. So to go back to what Tom and I think, Mikey and Darth Plato were saying, I think the movement is huge, and I think that's a sort of slice of evidence. Like Snyder composed about going to see a DC film that gets 2 or 3 times as much engagement than the trailer of the film and the announcement of the casting of a new Superman and Lois Lane. Like, it grounded it, it crushed it into dust in terms of numbers. So there we go. But yeah, I mean, I'll have to see it. And he's a good. I'd like to. You know, I was going to say he's a good actor, right? I've only seen Zolo in Cobra Kai, so I don't know if he's just good at being Zolo in Cobra Kai. You know, Diaz in Cobra Kai, or if he, and we'll see here, because this is like a completely, well, a slightly different character. So we'll see.
He's very young, and I do admit that, you know, in Cobra Kai he still kind of looked like a teenager. It's not necessarily anything that I'm like, wow, he's cute or anything. Good looking, but you know, he's a little bit older now, so you know, I can kind of go into the realm of saying he's attractive, but it, you know, like, you know, he's still very young. And I think that, you know, I think regardless of how this turns out, I think it's a win for him as an actor to go from Cobra Kai to this.
It could be, or it could be a curse.
Uh-oh.
Because if this film is garbage and tanks and all of that, then, you know, he's on a sticky wicket, isn't he? Because Cobra Kai has come to an end, and now he's launched his Hollywood career with a studio that doesn't know what side to put his trousers on, his pants on. It, let's hope it's brilliant, right? And he's come out and said, hasn't he? Are you part of the DCU or not? And he's like, well, if the film does well, then yeah. If it doesn't, then probably not. And he's got an absolute point, hasn't he? Because if this tanks and is shredded, then so what's Nathan saying here? None of the DCEU films have made over $400 million domestically. Plus, they have been very divisive. A reboot should have happened years ago. Yeah, I am inclined to agree with you on this, Nathan. I think I must have said this on here before. The reboot or the redoing should have happened directly after Man of Steel, which, as much as I love it, didn't make as much money as they thought was going to make and was a divisive take. That's the point where you say to Zach, actually, you know what, your vision isn't bearing out. Let's cut our losses now, and let's get Macquarie in and do a Superman 2, golly gee whiz, Miss Lane, and watch that tank, and then think, oh shit, you were right in the first place, Zach. But you're absolutely right. It should have been kiboshed, and if they didn't do it then, they should have kiboshed it after Justice League, and they didn't do it then, and they've kept it limping on for 10 years, and it's been mostly shit. Darth Plato says they shouldn't have messed with Snyder, just let JL3 happen. I couldn't agree more. Like I've said a million times, you can't mandate Justice League characters into a film and then cut 40 minutes out of that film and then say the film's over stuff. It's madness. I've been through it a million times, but I'm in complete agreement.
And of course, we have a comment about Barbie and the sets. And perhaps, obviously, as you know, I did enjoy immensely the sets of Barbie, and certainly what they did to be able to create the Barbie landscape, what it looks like. For me, is a pure fantasy. It was amazing. It looks like real Barbie sets. It looks like where she would live. And this is a total fantasy for me. And I get that. And I'm not going to necessarily go too far into it, but I agree with you. I think that it should be repurposed for that, and that we should be able to see it at a park. Why not go to a park and go with that. So let's hope they make it into a Barbie land in some park. Oh, thank you so much. Tom Jr. Jackson says of her when she went into audition for American Idol. So thank you so much for mentioning that.
What? Irene auditioned for American Idol?
Yeah, she said earlier.
I
You
missed
missed
that.
it?
I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. I'd love to see that.
Well, I have the picture and I'm going to be bringing it up now. Or in a second.
Okay, I'll carry on while you're doing that. I think
Okay.
how Blue Beetle does in the box office will show if it's a DCEU fatigue or bad movie fatigue. I don't know, man. I mean, this is the point, Nathan, isn't it? We just don't know where we're at with fatigue. But look, if it's a sort of like origin story where he gets his powers and then loses his powers and has a CGI battle at the end, I just think people are done with that. And I've said over and over and over again, I really do think that Snyder's take would land better now than it did 10 years ago. And I just think this film has this sort of moldy smell of death around it, in that nobody who's a DC fan is going to want to get too invested in this, because why would you? In case it's garbage, okay, well, I'll go see it. Oh no, it's not garbage, it's really good, I really enjoyed it, but it didn't make $1 billion or whatever they're looking for it to make, so therefore we're not going to go forward with it. And that might sound beyond the pale, Nathan, but really, on the evidence of that graph that we showed earlier on, and on what Dwayne the Rock really capsulated, was that every time something doesn't go precisely exactly what they wanted, they change course. And this film doesn't, it's living in between two universes at the moment, and the mood music isn't good. In fact, the whole mood music around Gunn and what he's doing isn't good as far as I'm concerned. But I fear that this one might suffer as a result, because certainly The Flash has suffered as a result, right? It hasn't done anything like they thought it was going to. And that had Ben Affleck in it, and it had Gal Gadot in it, and it's even got fake Henry Cavill in it, and all of these cameos and all of these things and all of that stuff that you'd expect to bring people out. People are like, nah, I'll wait for it to come out on DVD. Maybe that'll be the same as this.
All
But
right.
who
So
knows? I could be wrong.
I am just trying to bring up this picture properly. Sometimes it does not load correctly. So just give me a second. I'm almost done. I can kind of see Irene's part of her face, but I
I'm
want
going to
to
go
have to
try
crop
it
it.
up and try and find some more where you are in the comments.
I
Oh, there
will.
it is. I think Blue Beetle Tom, Junior Jackson underneath that says, I sent you a picture. Mighty Orbot says, caffeine kindly. It's all right. I'll do it. You carry on with what you're doing.
Okay.
DC abandonment is a real thing, says Mikey Leto. People don't want to see DCU movies because of the new gun saffron regime. Well, that's what I'm alluding to right there, Mikey, is like, I don't know how much of this stuff bleeds into the mainstream. I really don't, because I'm not in the mainstream. Mighty Orbots responds with DC abandonment join the party along with the Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel. That's Kathy's fault, he continues to say, and that is all the fault of the Feige. Tom, unsurprisingly, is excited to see all of it because he's a movie fan and quotes here Arum's review of The Sound of Freedom. Nathan says, I would agree with Russ about The Sound of Freedom, but I also think that some of the people in Hollywood are completely okay with moving younger people around illegally. Perhaps they are. That's what Mel Gibson alludes to. Mike Yorbots says, I want to watch this new Benny Johnson video. Don't know what that means, Mike Yorbots. Sorry.
What is that?
Bonzo Kilborn says Russ's deepest naughty fantasy: Pam Anderson and chocolate sauce. Pam Anderson and hot tub with Pamela wearing a cowboy hat. Um, Tom goes on to say, did you miss Arum's and Stubble McShay's review of Project Hail Mary with a link and a couple of other links? You guys can catch up on that. You don't need me to read that stuff out. Marty Orbot says, would that be noble and great for Barbie? I don't know. Would it be noble and great for Barbie? And then Mikey Leto picks up with, sorry, are you ready to rock and roll, Arum?
Yep. I think I have
Okay.
it now. I think we can see it. So let me just take you and I off the screen. I think we should be able to see it. I'm just gonna
Oh
remove
my
me.
goodness. Hottie alert. Hottie alert.
Can I do it? No. Wait
No,
one
I
second. Wait
just saw
one
her.
second.
She's beautiful. Look at this picture. You
I'm
had
trying
it.
to find the right so I can see her face because I can't.
Well, if you do what you did in the first place, because it shoved me over to one side, and then you could see the whole picture. But there she is. Isn't she beautiful?
She is lovely. I don't know whether it was this. No, it's not that one. I put it on the background. That's why I'm going to take myself. Can I do that? I can't center. Let me see if I'll remove my.
If you get rid of me, right, and then I think you'll move over to one side.
No, it doesn't work like that.
One of
It
them
doesn't.
did. It moved me over to one side, and you could see her.
It did.
So you weren't there. I was there, but I was in the corner. It sort of went off to the one side of the screen.
Okay, let me try it again. I'm trying all the layouts. Which one did it move over?
You weren't on. I was on, and it just shoved me out. There you go. I'm too big. I'm too big. Anyway, I don't know.
Move myself. Um, like, can I move my picture? I can't move
Okay,
it.
well, while you're doing that, I'll carry on with this.
Well,
Mikey Leto says,
I'm just gonna show it so everybody sees it. Russ, you and I are not going to be on the screen
all
for a
right.
second, okay? Okay, we're back.
Oh dear, I'll tell you what, I should be asking for her phone number. She's lovely.
Irene,
Anyway,
you look so beautiful. I'm sorry I can't show it the way I want to because it's in your face and I tried to reposition it, but I can't move my picture over enough to show how incredible that you look. These layouts, and I'm going to add new layouts, but Irene, you look wonderful, my dear.
agreed. Okay, Mikey goes on to say, seriously, there was one person among the crowdfunders that, so we're going to smear the entire film talking about Sound of Freedom by the action of one person. And Mighty Orbit says that was outrageous. Brogu says, no one likes Star Wars anymore. Superhero movies aren't what they used to be, but I will still cherish the time when I saw the first Superman. Yeah, me too. I remember seeing that in the cinema. About 28 times I saw it. Certain Hollywood big shots are killing the movie industry. Yeah, Mikey. I mean, look, Mikey goes on to say that he loved Andor. now I know what it's like to be a sort of famous person when you're sort of taken out of context. It's not nobody likes Star Wars anymore. I'm not saying that, but it's just not what it was. It's just really not what it used to be. It's not a revered brand. It's not something that we're made up about it. The stories have kind of just not gone in a great direction for the most part. So that's what I kind of meant there.
I loved Andor too, Mikey Lito. And Stubble says, I think the same place, I'm in the same place. I think we're in the same place where movies were in the 60s. They had a bunch of big budget films like Cleopatra. I wonder what version we'll get of the 70s auteurs that followed. If there are
Astute.
auteurs, Stubble.
Well, there are. I mean, there really are, right? There are loads of brilliant filmmakers out there. I've met some of them. Jesus, some of the guys that I've met and worked with and all that sort of thing. These people are amazing. They just need a chance, and maybe that's what we're going to get. Maybe. Do you know what, Stubble? Maybe that is history repeating itself. If we don't study history, we're doomed to repeat it. Maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe people are just going, do you know what? I just want to watch a film about a guy go rescue a bunch of kids. I'm fed up seeing a guy get powers, lose powers, and then have a CGI battle at the end. Maybe that's what it is.
And you guys were talking about the white savior thing, and I know you were joking, Tom Jr. Jackson. I didn't feel that way when I watched it. I thought it was an incredible film, and I thought Jim Caviezel still looks pretty darn hot.
Nobody thought that. I mean, but this is what's been leveled at it, I think, which is Tom Jr. Jackson's point, is that because the lead is white and male and straight, instantly the film is satanic. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just the worst thing, and you could never watch it or support it, and if you do, you're a terrible person. I think that's what he's driving at, and he's absolutely right. That is often the message.
And Stubble says he thinks the casting of Clooney was the least problem with the character, while Gary says that Clooney's not everyone's cup of coffee.
Oh, I see what you did there, Gal. I see what you did. I don't know if they have those adverts in America, but they've got them in England. But yeah, isn't there rumours of a Schumacher cut coming out of that movie?
I don't know.
Batman and Robin. Yeah, there are. There's
I know Nespresso and Danny DeVito commercials, but every woman I know would cherish a night with Clooney and a cup of coffee because you need one because you're going to be up for a while. Mm-hmm. Darth Plato says Spiegel underwent Der Spiegel. I remember Spiegel magazine, but I don't know what this means. But yeah. Greta Gerwig is slated to bring Narnia to life on Netflix. That's interesting.
Can't wait to see what she does with Christ allegory Aslan. Oh, this is going to be great. My mouth is watering already at the prospect of a Greta Gerwig Narnia.
I don't think she's going to write that, Russ. But I don't think she's going to write it. I think she'll maybe direct it. But
it doesn't matter, though, does it? You already know what a Greta Gerwig Narnia is going to be, right?
No, I don't know what it's going to be. That's the most interesting thing about this, Russ. She doesn't have. I don't really know what that would be like. I don't.
I think you're lying to yourself.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I'm lying to myself. Tom Jr. Jackson says, yes, we do need to go to Foxwoods, Tom, and play bingo. Of course, I'm awful at games, but I might be able to do that. I look forward to that. That's what we need to do, Tom, is to go to Foxwoods. I'm thinking of starting a drinking game with Russ and DC on Sunday brunch, although it might be a bit too early to get. No, it's not too early here.
Stubble, RM's got my phone number, and surely after this I'll be going. I might have a beer. I'm definitely going to go and smoke a cigarette. So if you want to call me and tell me about that, feel free. I'm all over it, mate.
Well, Irene, thank you for this lovely picture of yourself. I'm going to look to see whether, I don't know if you made the television show, but I'm going to look in American Idol. Let us know if like if it was a broadcast TV show. I'd love to see some of your singing. It sounds wonderful to see that, Irene. I so enjoy seeing stuff like that. I hope everybody here is well. Was there anything else I wanted to say about anything? To be honest with you, I will be doing $1 billion Barbie stream. If not tonight, I don't think it's going to be tonight. Maybe tomorrow night, Monday night, $1 billion Barbie stream, because at least give some alert about it. Because I don't necessarily think I can even muster anybody right now to say, hey, do you want to go streaming right now? Like, it's not cool. So tomorrow, maybe around, I don't know, 7 o'clock or so, I'll do it. So, but yeah, it's Russ. Was there anything else you wanted to cover for today?
Yeah,
We covered
there
a
is.
lot. Yeah.
We spoke about this a little bit, you and me, and I don't know if I'm just scrolling through the chats here. Oh no, you got to the end. Really well done. Um, One of the things Aram and I were talking about was, now that there's a strike on and there's so little news coming out of Hollywood at the moment, one of the ideas that we wanted to, and it's not for next week, we can do it the week after. One of the ideas I wanted to float was, while we're not getting any new content and not much in the way of news, although, we've managed to rant on about Gal Gadot and James Gunn for 2 hours on this stream, do we want to throw out like a couple of movies and say, look, you know what, Aram and I are going to go watch this movie this week, right? So it could be a Scott Adkins movie or a whatever movie. It doesn't really matter what movie it is. And we put that out in the chat at the beginning of the show or here at the end of the show or what have you. And whoever wants to come go watch that film then goes away and watches it. And then we can all talk about it in like a book club, but with movies. And I don't know if that's a good idea or a shit idea. It's just something that Aram and I were sort of batting backwards and forwards. If it's going to be a slow news week, now it may be that next week the Snyderverse gets restored and I'm really happy or something like that. But just we're all going to watch a movie in the week anyway, I'm assuming. So we thought if we throw it out here, I'm going to watch this movie this week, and hopefully the chat will jump on board and we'll talk about it next week. So I don't know, but that's one of the things we were talking about.
Absolutely, and we are going to talk more about that going forward. And certainly, there is a lot to muster over. What one thing I can say that I am excited about is that SEAL Team season, I think it's season 5, is coming back in November, either September or November. It's a show about operators that I like on television, starring David Boreanaz. So that's coming up, and I'm incredibly excited about it.
Sweet. I've never actually seen it, but I've heard only good things about it.
I love SEAL Team. David Boreanaz is an amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we've seen him in
Angel,
Buffy
yeah.
and Angel and in Bones and in this. And he just, a 40-year career, maybe 30-year career that he's had, which has been phenomenal. And I think he shows no signs of stopping. I wanted to meet him at the last con. I can't remember whether he was supposed to be there, but then he wasn't there. But certainly, something to think about, and I'm excited that it's still going to be continuing going forward. So I am excited for that. Yeah. So thank you everybody for being here today. Irene, whose picture is on the screen, as you can see from her American Idol days. Irene, you've been incredibly generous to the channel today. You had a $10 super chat, then another one, and then a $15 super chat. Irene, thank you so much for being so generous today. We appreciate it. And of course, you have an incredibly generous nature and you're incredibly kind. So thank you for doing that. It's so wonderful that you did. I also want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson, moderator, collaborator, and good friend, who also has been so great. Tom, I am going to look at the at the thumbnail you made. I made one, but I might use yours and said I don't know, so you never know. But I do appreciate it, Tom. As always, you are always doing so many wonderful things. And Tom also has his own channel. So, Tom, I'm going to take you up on the Foxwoods thing. You and I need to go to Foxwoods, play some bingo, see a show, and have some fun. I think that would be fantastic. So let's plan that, Tom. I'm looking forward to that. Foxwoods is always fun to be at. Russ, where can people find you?
On the piss normally. No, you can find me here, or you can drop me an email at russellwhitfield.com. But more importantly, where can people find you, RM?
Well, guys, you can always find me here on Positive Fandom, my YouTube channel, where we do Sunday brunch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find me on the Burnettwork. I am the creative content director for the Burnettwork. and you can find me there as well. We
Is
didn't
that
do
with
a
your ex-boyfriend Rob or your current boyfriend?
I
Because
am not
the rumors are hot. The rumors are rife in
No,
the
they
chat,
are
man.
not.
I'm just.
I think that was just something that someone had in their mind, and
Mhm.
I don't believe that there are any rumors about
So
that.
you can't report back on Rob's technique that he's always happy to share with everybody on a late night stream. I'm just saying that like once the gossip's out there, Rita, you never know. You never know.
No, 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 no. I think he's just trying to encourage other people to express what they're excited about. So there it is. And certainly, I do want to thank everybody who is here today. It's always wonderful to see this community. We have such a great community. So thank you, everybody. And certainly, I absolutely enjoy doing the show. And I will be doing a $1 billion Barbie stream. It's going to be on the Burnettwork and on Positive Fandom. So you could tune into either channel and see it. But that will be coming up. I think it's going to be Monday. Or maybe I should, yeah, it's going to be Monday. It's a little late in the day for me to go ahead and suddenly announce a stream tonight. So
Are you
I'm not
going back down to the beach now?
I want to. First, I have to see if Mummy wants to, if she's hungry. I imagine she's going to want some food. Ideally, I would like her to go to the beach with me, but I can't take her to the beach before 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. And right now, it's 1 o'clock,
Right.
so I can't take her there before 2 because it's just too. It's not convenient for her. Like it's too bright.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I have to maybe around 2 o'clock if I can wrap her up
Mhm.
and put a big old hat on her and bring her down to the boardwalk. Maybe not the beach, but the boardwalk is right there. So I can have her on the boardwalk and she can
Is that the boardwalk from the song? Under the boardwalk,
have
I'll be falling in love. Is that the very one? Because it could be, because it's New York, right? So I don't know, but
it's I don't think it's that one, but it is the boardwalk. Certainly I'm not going to talk about what's happened on the boardwalk or on the beach here. That's for more like I don't know, another show, another adult show. Um, yeah, so we can leave that one of these days when we make something and talk about that. It will be. Oh, thank you, Irene. Oh, thank you so much. Right now she's calling. She's like, Rita, where are you? Where can you done? Are you with your friends? That's what she's probably saying right now. Yes, I'm with my friends. We're almost done. So thank you so much, Retro Nerd Girl. Yes, she is. She is Mikey Lito. That's exactly her name. Um, and Mikey Lito, I still am looking forward to us seeing. Definitely going in to see wherever we see Oppenheimer on that 70 millimeter IMAX. So that's coming up. So guys, thank you everybody. Well, thank you, Darth Plato, for clearing that up for us.
oh,
And guys,
nice one. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, thank you so much, Darth Plato. On behalf of yeah, I guess on behalf of this channel, thank you everybody for being so great. You guys are the best. Yes, Irene, one of these days, oh, I clicked on the wrong one. One of these days, Irene, you never know. So I'm just saying that's for a whole nother silk stockings kind of show. Or what's the Red Shoe Diaries kind
That's it. That's it.
of. So that's going to come out one of these days, certainly when we go into that. So, Russ, thank you so much for being here as always.
Oh, thanks for having me, putting up with me again.
And thank you, Tom Jr. Jackson, moderator, collaborator, and good friend. Thank you for everything, too. We are all goof people, Tom. And guys, remember, no matter where you are out there, no matter where you are in the galaxy, always remember to please be kind. Take care, everybody.
Give us a call, Stubble. Cheers, cheers. Bye bye.